Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Jim Kleiber Show. I really want to have some opening intro. Goodness, I miss the music. You know, the nice little music that kind of cues you into what's happening. It is Friday, October 23rd, 2020, and it is starting to get a little dark outside, maybe a little rainy. One of them fall rains, fall thunderstorms. I don't know. Things are more unpredictable when it comes to the weather these days. I hope y'all are doing well. I'm not sure what you're really feeling these days. If you're excited to be at home, if you're stressed to be at home, if you're not even at home, if you're in a new home, if you're moving homes, if you're returning to a home, we're all going through similar things, but very different things at the same time. And regardless of the things that are happening, we're feeling lots of different things. Some people are grateful for the rain. Some people are stressed at the rain. Some people are confused by the rain. Some others are excited for it. All these other things. I just got off a call with a group of friends that we do kind of this every 2 weeks we do a check-in, just to see how everyone's doing with their projects. Many of us are working on our own projects. Whether it's a book or whether it's a podcast or whether it's a new product or a company or things like this, coaching, things like that. So it amazes me how many of us struggle with a concept of self-promotion. Now, I think some others struggle with other aspects, but a lot of my friends seem to struggle with this aspect where we focus so much on building the product or perfecting the product or the website or the photo or the song or the company or the plan or the strategy, that we get so focused on the internal things that we don't share with other people. We don't promote it. We don't tell other people that these things exist. As I often tie this back into politics a little bit, I think, again, politics, especially running for office, is a lot about promotion and self-promotion, or promotion of the individual and their skills and their abilities, their weaknesses, not their weaknesses so much, but their differences and how they behave differently than others. And I know I've struggled with that over the years, and I imagine many of you have as well. We spend time building something or fixing something or cultivating something or growing something, and then we don't tell people that we did it because we don't want to boast. We don't want to be arrogant. We don't want to be cocky. And then people don't find out about it, and we get super angry at the people who boast and tell the whole world that they have things, but they haven't really made anything. Oh, I can get so angry at the people who are walking around pretending like they've cured cancer and that they've figured out how to turn, how to create gold out of thin air, and all these different boasts and brags. And I can get so frustrated when it doesn't seem like they actually have a path to doing it. And I think a lot of that frustration for me comes from me believing that I do have things that work really well and then not telling people about it. So getting really angry at the people who I don't think have something but are telling everyone that they do. And I talked about how I can get really jealous of the people who I believe have a product or a thing that works and who go out and tell people about it, who both have the building skills but also the promotional skills. And I can get so jealous of this behavior. But we can change it. I mean, we can get better at promoting. And one thing one of the friends said to me that helped is this idea of it's promoting the things that we do. It's not really promoting ourselves. So one thing I talk about a lot, when I say that I believe people are good that sometimes do bad things, is that I'm talking about the core essence of that human. I believe at the core, we are all good. And sometimes the things that we do are bad, meaning that they cause harm to others or harm to ourselves as well. And so I'm able to do that separation when it comes to that. And I also want to get better at doing that separation when it comes to selling or promoting. It's that if I'm telling people about this podcast, it's not promoting my deep core essence. It's not promoting like the soul, like the soul or whatever you want to call that kind of like deep internal um, essence of a human. It's promoting the things that I'm saying, the things that I'm doing. So in a way, there is a separation from my actions, my words, my behaviors, my non-actions, than the core of who I am. And maybe this helps you as well, because I think sometimes when we work on products or websites or really any type of creation, even when it comes to like creating children and raising and growing children, we can become so attached and attach our self-worth and identity so much to that thing. So if people don't watch the podcast, it means they don't like me, or if people don't watch the podcast, it means they don't like my beard, which means they don't like me. Or if people don't watch the podcast, or if people like react with a disgusted face at the podcast, it means that they are disgusted at me. No, they're not disgusted at my soul. They're disgusted at the podcast. And maybe that's because they don't like podcasts, because I don't know why they don't like podcasts. Maybe they don't like listening to podcasts in general. Maybe they don't like listening to one person talk for 30 minutes, because that's okay. A lot of people don't like it. That's fine. I think for me, this helps a lot. And maybe it helps you. This idea of separating our essence or some deep core part of who we are from the actions and the movements that we do outside of that. Because it's not just even promotion. I mean, one challenge with promotion is rejection, but rejection can come in many formats, not just rejection of a podcast. It can come in rejection of romantic interest, or come a rejection for a job interview, or come at rejection for just attention from a family member or anyone. And it can hurt so much when we take that and we say, they're not rejecting my behavior, they're rejecting me. No, they're rejecting the behavior. And so I've talked a lot about this when it comes to behaviors and when it comes to words. And I appreciate the conversation I just had, because it's helping me realize that it can also apply to products or things that we have, or just us and ourselves. So like podcast for me is a product. It's a thing that I've done. If I see it as them rejecting me, then it may really hurt and I may really hesitate to promote it. I also don't want to promote me. But if I promote a podcast as something like, it's a 30-minute show typically where where a person is speaking, again, pull the I am out, where a person who has traveled many parts of the world, has lived in Africa and Latin America and done work in Europe and many parts of the US, who has studied intercultural communication and international studies, but also electrical engineering, who has worked in tech space, but also economic development and innovation, and now a lot with emotions and conflict resolution, is talking for 30 minutes, very raw, very live, unscripted, every day about the news and how current events are interacting with our lives on a deeper level. If I describe it that way and I pull the I am speaking, if I really talk about the actions and the things that I'm doing, or that are being done rather, by a person, then it pulls myself away from it a lot. And it's a lot easier for me to promote. Then I'm not, watch me. No, it's watch or listen to this thing that is happening. And then I can start going into, why would you want to listen to it? I don't know. I mean, perhaps you're on pandemic and you're not listening to that many people in general in conversation, and you haven't had a really deep conversation in a long time, because the people that you normally have deep conversations with, they're not around, or they went back home because they're not in the same country or the same city anymore because of the pandemic. They wanted to be home. And so you're feeling lonely and you want to hear somebody's voice. And you want to hear somebody talk about stuff that's going on, but take it to a little bit deeper level and try to connect it to the struggle that many of us feel. Or you're looking for a beard and you're just like watching a beard. Or you like my laugh. I don't know. Maybe you haven't heard a lot of people laughing. You watch a lot of news, and the news is very strict and very serious, and there's not a lot of laughter. Or you're outside the U.S. and you want to hear an American perspective on what's going on, and you're tired of watching the CNNs, or maybe you don't have TV, so you're not even watching CNN and some of these things, and you prefer to listen to audio. But a lot of the audio is very it sounds like a newscast, like the BBC or NPR, has the very kind of formal feeling to it. You want something that's a little less formal. Maybe you're just really curious about a lot of different topics. Maybe you're excited to hear something that kind of goes in a more of a meandering format that is unscripted, not so prepared and kind of rigid. I don't know. So in doing this and describing it that way, it helps me separate it. But it's not just a podcast. I think we can do this with anything. If you're a person who's selling a carpenter service, maybe you're afraid that people don't want to buy your carpenter service because they think if they reject you, if they reject the service, they're rejecting you. But not really. Maybe you can promote the service by talking about what you actually do, the actions, the behaviors, the feel, the emotions that you give. Not you, but the things that are happening, if that makes sense. This is what I try to tell people when we're getting into fights with someone. When we feel rejected, we think that the person is angry at us or disgusted at us. No, they're angry at the thing we said or the thing we didn't say, or they're angry at the thing we did or didn't do, or the thing that we have or don't have. They're not angry at the core of us. Same thing with disgust. They're not disgusted at the core of us. They're disgusted at what we said or the food that we made. But they're disgusted by the food. They're not disgusted by us. And so I find this separation to help me so much. Again, I mean, it's a semantic thing. So you can choose to believe it or not. But I've noticed that when I believe that people are not angry at me, they're angry at the thing I did or didn't do, et cetera, the action, the behavior. Or when I think that they're even in love with me. No, they're in love with the thing that I do or I said. They're still in love with these behaviors that are making them feel these different emotions. I can feel a lot more relaxed. Even when people ignore me, they're not ignoring me. They're ignoring certain behaviors. Maybe they're ignoring the constant emails, or they're ignoring because I'm posting 7 times a day. They're not ignoring me. They're ignoring someone who is posting 7 times a day, or really they're ignoring 7 posts a day because maybe they're overwhelmed with the rest of stuff in life, and maybe the topics of the posts are not related to something that's really relevant for them at the moment. So I think this idea of trying to separate who we are from what we do can be really, really helpful, at least for my health. I don't know how it makes you feel, but I can feel a certain relaxation in my body right now. It's like, oh, wait, so if I post something on Twitter and people get super angry, they're not angry at me, they're angry at what I posted. They're angry at the words. Oh, okay. Even if they dislike a photo that I posted of me, they're not so disliking me at my core. They're disliking the photo. They're disliking the physical representation of how I looked in that moment. Now, maybe they'll say, oh, no, I'm angry at you. I dislike you. They can choose to believe what they want to. But for me, for my health, to choose to believe that they're angry at the behaviors, or the things, and not at me, at the soul, at the deeper level of me. Feels such a relief. That means I can do lots of things. I'm not so afraid that my deep self-worth is going to be attacked, because in this way, they're not attacking it at all. They're not fighting against it. They're not having an adverse reaction to it. They're having a reaction, an emotional experience based on the thing that is being done. I hope that makes sense for some of you. I started this out talking about how so many of us can struggle to promote ourselves, self-promotion. But in a way, it's not really self-promotion. It's like, I don't know, maybe self you can have like deep self, and you can have like superficial or external self, or like regular self and deep self. So it's like regular self-promotion, but it's not necessarily the deep self-promotion. We're promoting like this normal self, or the behavioral self, not the existential self. Oh, that could be a good one. It's like promoting the behavioral self, not the existential self. Because the existential self, the deeper spiritual self, is, I believe, not what people are noticing or getting frustrated with or angry with. It's the behavioral self. It's the things that we are doing or saying or having or believing or interacting with. What's something that you're struggling to promote or to sell that's related to you? Doesn't have to be something that you have. It doesn't have to be like your body. It could be something that's an extension of your body. It could be a tool that you've built. It could be something you've written. It could be something you've painted. It could be something you've said, or something that you believe, or something that you don't believe, or someone you support, or someone you don't support. Again, when we support someone, it's fascinating. When we're supporting someone, are we supporting their like existential self, or are we supporting their behavioral self? I don't know if behavioral self's perfect, but I like it for now. I would say that often we're supporting the behavioral self. When I'm voting for Joe Biden over Donald Trump, I'm voting not for the existential Joe Biden or the core Donald Trump. I'm voting for the behaviors that the person has and what I think those behaviors lead to. The behaviors, the things, the it's not surface. I don't want to say surface or superficial level. It's the kind of the physical level, maybe, and then metaphysical level. I don't know, but this like the level that we can see, the tangible level. I'm voting for the way that he communicates. I'm voting for the way that he makes decisions. I'm voting for the way that he smiles. I'm voting for the way that he gives hugs. I'm voting for the way that he apologizes. I'm voting for the way that he has done X and Y in the past. I'm voting for those things. I'm not voting for the existential core aspect of the human. Maybe it's because I believe that existentially at that core, we're all the same. We do many different things on the surface, externally, but on that core internal aspect, I believe we're pretty much the same. So even when we talk about politics and we talk about these situations, it looks as if somebody is really going out there and promoting themselves, but they're promoting their behaviors. They're promoting the things that they own, the things that they don't own, the things that they believe, the things that they don't believe. Gosh, I don't know about you, but when I believe it this way, when I look at the world this way, I feel so much more relaxed. It's almost like the core part is unchanging. It can't, it's not going to be affected. It's not going to rise or fall. It's just there. It's steady. It's constant. Whereas the surface, the waves can move a lot. It's kind of like in the ocean, don't they say that underneath, well, it depends if there's a current, but underneath the water can be pretty stable, but then the waves are going on the top? Very similar. How many of you struggle to promote these things, to sell yourself? To sell yourself. See, it's the language too. We have a lot of that language of selling oneself or self-promotion or selling your product, using a lot of possessive pronouns for this. Think about it. I mean, Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok, and if somebody's watching you on TikTok, you're doing all these dances. Are they watching the existential you, or are they watching the dances that you're doing? Because if they like the dances, again, maybe they're liking the dances. If they dislike the dances, maybe they're disliking the dances, not disliking you. Maybe some people are yearning to watch a white guy like me dance to Swahili, like East African music or or West African Nigerian music. Maybe they're yearning, like, oh my gosh, I just wish I could see that. But they're not getting so excited about my existential part. They're excited about a guy who looks like me, who talks like me, who dances like that. Oh, okay. In a way, I feel almost more relaxed talking about the superficial me. I think a lot of times we say, oh, we don't want someone to like the superficial me. We want somebody to know the real me. I want them to really care about me deep down. But don't we all like the superficial stuff? I mean, not just the body, right? So, I mean, some people, oh, I don't want them to just like me for my body or for my face, or to dislike me for my body or for my face. I want them to like me for like my core. But at the end of the day, we like people for how they speak, how they don't speak, how they react when they get angry, how they don't react, how they speak, like the sound that their voice makes, the sound their voice doesn't make, for how tall they are, for how short they are, for the way they see the world, for what they believe, for the stories they tell, for what they've done in the past, for what they want to do in the future. In a way, these things are still not, I would say, the core essence of who we are. Maybe they're deeper than how we look, but I could argue that believing and thinking and saying and feeling and doing are many things that are still movements, are still things that are not right at our center. I don't know, maybe this frustrates you more. Maybe you're like, no, people need to believe me and they need to love me at my core. Okay. And if they hate me at my core. You can believe what you want to believe. I just know that when I believe this, I start to feel a lot less pressure and stress. Oh, so I can say something stupid on Twitter and people might get really angry, but they're angry at what I said. They're not angry at me. Oh, that's a relief. Or I can put out a product in the world and people get really excited about it, but they're not really excited about the core part of me. They're excited about the product I put out in the world. Oh, that's in a weird way a relief as well, because I don't feel the pressure that they're going to overwhelm me. They're overwhelming the product, perhaps. What else? I could run for political office and I lose. But I lose not because people don't like me and the core me. It's because they don't believe in the behaviors that I have. Maybe they don't think that someone at my age should run for office, so they don't like the age. Maybe they don't like the things that I've done in the past. Maybe they don't see how working in East Africa could help with American politics. It's the behaviors, but I think what can happen so much is that we get so attached to our behaviors, we get so attached to our beliefs, we get so attached to the products that we make that we integrate them with our core being, our core existential being. This is me. I am what I do. What did Descartes say? I think, therefore I am. Cogito ergo sum. Cogito ergo sum, if that's the appropriate pronunciation. And this attachment with the things that we think, the things that we believe, the things we don't believe, the things that we say, the things that we have done, the things that we own. I am a Trump supporter. I am a Biden supporter. I am, and attaching that identity so deeply with things that we do or say. Oh, I am an iPhone user. I am an Android user. I am a Michigander because I live in Michigan, or I am a Republican, or I am a Democrat, or I am, Republican or Democrat are just beliefs or because of the people I associate with. That's why I am one of those things. But maybe there's the existential, there's the deeper identity that can disconnect from these more behavioral identities. I don't know. I've been rambling on some philosophical points here, and yesterday I had the idea that I wanted to speak more directly to you and talk to you about how so many of us are struggling in different ways and speak like the leader that I wanted to hear. But sometimes I want to hear people speak about theories and philosophies. Sometimes I want the leader to not just speak to me. I want them to ramble on about their viewpoint on the world and some tools that help. Gosh, I feel so much more relaxed. Or at least I'm telling that to myself. Maybe I don't. Oh, what a tough question it is to answer. How do I feel? I think going into this, doing a lot of these podcasts, I was so afraid that people wouldn't like them, people wouldn't listen to them, because it said that they were rejecting me. It's just me speaking to the camera most of the time for 30 minutes. And if people don't like that, therefore they don't like me. It just means that people don't like maybe listening to the voice that I currently have for 30 minutes over the audio or video channel with the way that I've currently done it. And that's okay. It's not me that they're rejecting. It's certain beliefs. And if I can distance myself from the beliefs and from the actions where I don't feel so integrated with them, then I think I can feel a lot more relaxed putting things out and telling people about them. Maybe it's the same for you. Maybe you get really enmeshed with your identities, the things you do, the things you say, the things you believe, things you don't believe. It's okay. Maybe try to distance yourself a little bit and focus on believing that there's a core part of you that's not going to change. And most people aren't seeing that core. I don't think any of us really see the core. We see the other stuff that we do. And yeah, go tell people about the stuff that you're doing and the things that you're feeling and the things that you're believing. And if they don't like it, or if they love it, or if they ignore it, it's okay, because they're not ignoring you, they're not disliking you, and they're not liking you. They're liking the thing that you're saying or doing. Okay, Friday. It's been a week, and I'm not sure what y'all feeling right now, but I'm feeling ready to have this week be a weekend, and hope y'all are well. Hope you, just, I care about you no matter what happens. And when I say that, I'm talking about I care about the existential you, the core you. I will always, and I will try my darndest to care about that forever. Some of the things you do, I may love, I may hate, I may ignore, but it's not because I don't care about you. It's because I don't like the thing itself, maybe. But that's not my fault. That's not your fault. It's just how we are. We're animals running through this world. Or not running, sitting, because we sit behind computers all day. Anyways, y'all, hope you have a good one. Be well and enjoy the weekend. Oops, failed.